Hey Gemini, what's up gang? I hope everybody is well. We're gonna go ahead and look into the Mercury retrograde for you. So if that's something that interests you, do stick around. Gemini, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Jessica. Please take a look at my description box. That will have all the information that you need to know. And yes, this is a Gemini channel. However, if you vibe, you tribe, so go ahead and make yourself comfortable. Gemini, if you're returning, welcome back. I hope that you're well. Hope you're taking care of yourself. I do hope that you're doing what's best for you, boo. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Gemini, thank you for all the good vibes. It really does mean the world, okay? All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into this. Now, the Mercury retrograde, of course, impacts a lot of people, but it definitely impacts Geminis. And I would say Virgos, too, because Virgos and Geminis both have the ruling planet of Mercury, and since this is Mercury's retrograde, we are going to be impacted. Now, of course, your chart is going to depict basically how it impacts you and in what way, but since this retrograde is taking place mostly in Leo season, it is going to really cause you to reflect on your identity, right? Your own ego, your own sense of power, your confidence, perhaps, maybe how well you feel like you're doing in your job or in your goals, or just on a personal level. You might find yourself wanting to improve yourself. Maybe you want to, improve your health or improve your schedule, your regimen. Maybe you want to get on a stricter schedule when it comes to like going to work at the gym, or going to, doing a nightly skincare routine, or maybe taking more time for self-care days. But either way, it's having us take a look at ourselves, right? Because the Leo represents the sun. So for me, it's a very self-focused sign, and retrograding means, yes, we're reflecting, right? So we will see. Of course, the Mercury retrograde is notorious for bringing things back from the past, but I find that if things get brought back from the past, it's usually because you have some kind of unresolved business or issues there with that. And it's not necessarily like you're meant to be involved with whatever is coming back from the past, but it could just mean that you're meant to reflect on it and see what cycles still need to be closed out, what lessons perhaps that you still need to learn in regards to that, okay? So yeah, we're going to see how this works. We're just going to see what comes out. I don't really do retrograde readings, so I just felt compelled to do it. All right, we're gonna look into the animal messages first and see what we get. We did get fire for your intuitive message, which is so funny to me because this is going to be in Leo season, right? Which is, of course, a fire sign. So you could definitely be talking about your passions, your creativity, your energy or your motivation that you have towards yourself or certain projects at this time could definitely be being called into play here. Also, there could be some anger that's popping up this retrograde. I don't know if you're going to be feeling angry, Gemini, maybe about circumstances, about maybe some choices that you've made or whatever. Maybe you're releasing a lot of anger, okay? But yeah, let's just see. Let's just see what we got here. So can we get an animal message for this retrograde for Gemini gang? Can we please get an animal message for Gemini for this retrograde season? An animal message. All right, let's see what we have here. What messages do we have for Gemini gang, please? We have the eagle. And you know what's so funny about the eagle? It literally says in the book at some point, getting thrown into the karmic flames or the karmic fire. There's something like that. And that's so funny considering that we have fire. So Gemini, I feel like right off the bat, this retrograde season is helping you destroy a lot of unnecessary karma. Okay, a lot of unnecessary energy that's possibly in your energy and impacting you in a really deep way, okay? Maybe there's some things that you've been holding on to. Maybe there's some relationships, some toxic things that need to be released. Maybe you're working off karma, maybe from a past life or maybe from this life, Karma is like not something to be really shamed over, and it's not something to look at as like a justice or a revenge. Karma is simply the energy that you put out reflecting back to you. It's just the universal balance, and it has very little to do with, giving somebody justice or giving somebody like, revenge or, a sentence of like, it's not, I feel like us humans want there to be this like this vengeful thing of like, oh yeah, she got her karma, but really she just got the energy that was reflected back, and we all get the energy that we put out there reflected back to us. So there could be something here where maybe you've been working out some karma, maybe you'll be continuing to do that. I also see with the eagle, of course, and especially with this photo, it looks like you're trying to achieve something here, you know? It does look like you're, you have your eye on the prize here, you're very focused during this retrograde season, and there could be something here about not getting distracted. If you have a certain goal, if you have a certain project you're working on, this could even be about your health. Again, maybe you're trying to get your body in shape or something like that. Some days you're not going to feel like going to the gym, go anyways, right? Some days you're not going to be feeling like eating healthy, eat healthy anyways. There's just this energy here of being very disciplined and this helping you achieve your goals, okay? So let's go ahead and get the book out and let's see what we have here. Gotta get to it. All right, I'm to the air signs. Let me find the eagle. There we go, last one. I was like, I think it's the last one. All right. So the eagle says, all pervading power, a truth seeker, and transforms karma. The noble eagle animates the light of the sun, and the great bird is both physically and spiritually strong, and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are a lot stronger than you think, eagle child. When in balance, bright, radiant, and challenges. When out of balance, controlling. To bring into balance, step into the unknown. I find this to be very interesting because I feel like that's kind of the theme of the retrograde for you, is you, again, turning the spotlight on yourself and really taking a deeper look at yourself, you know? What are you invested in? What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? How far do you want to go? Are you doing the best that you can do for yourself? Are you rising to the occasion here? And there could be this energy of you wanting to be your best and brightest self, you wanting to shine more, and maybe you're questioning that a little bit and possibly even being a little too hard or critical on yourself. So be aware of that, of not being too critical on yourself. But it does feel like you want to transform physically and spiritually during this retrograde, and there's always room for improvement. And so you're looking at the areas in your life and in your health and in your wealth, in your relationships perhaps, in your spirituality, where you can improve, okay? Because it feels like you want to improve. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got here. We're gonna put this little guy right here. Hopefully you can kind of still see him, or maybe I should put him right here. I don't think that that's gonna be too hot. Yeah, that'll be fine. No, I don't really like it there. Okay, sorry guys. I have a new setup on my desk in case you haven't noticed, so I'm like, where do I put things now? Okay, we'll just put it there. I wanna pull some from the Green Witch's Oracle. Actually, you know what I wanna do? Because I have another new deck that I got that I haven't used, and it's Your Feelings Are Valid Oracle. And I think we're going to pull some feelings. Like, what is Gemini going to be feeling during this retrograde? Okay, what feelings will they be feeling during this retrograde? Let's find out. What feelings will Gemini be feeling during this retrograde, please, Spirit? What feelings will Gemini be feeling during this retrograde? I want to get a nice shuffle. I feel like that's our card, even though it's shadow work and it's like, eek, right? I feel like that's our card. Look at that. The twins. Okay, so what feelings will Gemini be feeling during this Mercury retrograde, please? What feelings will Gemini collective be feeling? We have overwhelmed. Okay. What else do we have here? Yeah, it's like you have so much going on that you almost can't put the cap on, you know? Your cup is definitely going to be overflowing, though. I am seeing that for sure. But you might just feel like you're a little overstimulated or overwhelmed during this Mercury retrograde. For my neurodivergents out there, you really might need to kind of keep that in check or try to tend to that energy, because it feels like your emotions could be all over the place. Hate to come here with that kind of news, y'all, but that's what I'm getting. Okay, what else do we have here for Gemini? Like, I'm also getting energy of maybe saying things, like being kind of brutally honest to people, and it kind of like spilling out. Like, you don't really want to say that, but you also don't have a filter right now because you're so overstimulated that you just kind of, it just spills out. Okay, I'm getting that energy as well. So try to kind of cleanse your emotions, take time to woo-saw it out, take time to breathe, Gemini, because yeah, you're going to be feeling a little overstimulated, overwhelmed, and you could just kind of react instead of thinking it through. We have gloom. Oh, come on, Gemini. Really? What else do we have? What are they going to be feeling during the Mercury retrograde? Damn. Not overwhelmed, not gloom. We have change. So there's going to be a lot of changes. What's bringing this gloom? We have bottled up. Okay. So I feel like, yeah, and it's funny because we have a bottled up with a cork on it, and then we have overwhelmed, something spilling out. So I feel like there's gloom because I feel like some of you guys, you want to be able to say things that maybe you don't feel like you can. So the advice here is that if you're feeling like a little dissatisfied and wanting to speak out, there's a need here to allow yourself to say what needs to be said, because if not, you'll kind of just like word vomit all over the place or let your emotions kind of come out all over the place, and yeah, it's not going to be good. All right, well, that was pleasant. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. Let's get some messages for Gemini gang for this retrograde. What do we have for this retrograde for Gemini? Just throw the whole retrograde away. You know what I'm saying? Just throw it all away. What do we have here for this retrograde? I've been questioning that anyway. Why do we got to have a retrograde every like 3 months or so? Like why do we even need that? You know, I remember the last retrograde very vividly. And it wasn't great, you know? So we have tend. It says maintenance, encouragement, and guidance. All right. So what's going on with Gemini during this retrograde? We have summer, expansion, and growth. Okay. Let's get one more. What's going on with Gemini during this retrograde, please? One more. And then we have preserve, security, forethought, and thrift. All right, Gemini. So, you know, I'm actually feeling really positive about this. I know that we have the gloom and the overwhelmed, but I feel like, again, that's because you want to be able to make moves that you don't feel like you're able to make. You want to be able to grow, you want to be able to expand, or possibly even you want to say things that you feel like you're unable to say for whatever reason, okay? But I do actually see some growth happening here, and that could be the breakthrough. That could be the change that we see that's taking place as far as your feelings are going during this retrograde. You are going to be feeling more optimistic. You're going to be feeling like you're expanding, and you might even be feeling like you're able to put some money in savings, or that you're being very resourceful and things are very much working out for you. Something is preserved. You're feeling a sense of security here, okay? So your foundation is looking really nice. I just feel like you're going through a lot of stuff on the inside, possibly. Again, maybe deep reflection on yourself, and are you, you know, adequate in certain areas? Are you doing well? Are you enough? You know, your confidence may be being questioned, or even your talent, your skill. But this doesn't feel like this is what's being reflected back in your outer world. I actually feel like you're doing very well during this retrograde, and it's just you that maybe is being very hard on yourself, which is why I was saying don't kind of be too critical on yourself during this retrograde, because you might be creating some narratives that aren't actually accurate, okay? It does feel like there is some maintenance here that you are being encouraged to do during this retrograde. And again, it could be if you feel like there's room for improvement in certain areas in your life, in your career, or your health, that yes, you should definitely continue to do that maintenance and look deeper into that, like do an audit possibly of yourself or whatever. But I actually feel like if you do an audit, you are going to feel like you're doing a lot better than what you thought. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting, okay? Also, during this retrograde, you're being asked to have some kind of foresight here and to be very resourceful and save your money. We actually picked that up during the career reading, so that's a repeating message. I feel like there is a need to really save your money, budget, look at your budget. How much are you spending in the month? How much are you making in the month? And what is the balance there? You know, and if there's room for you to put some money away in savings, then maybe doing some smart things, making smart money choices, like maybe making your food at home instead of eating out, making your coffee at home before you leave instead of going and getting it at the store. I mean, $3 a day to get your coffee, if that's what you pay, because most people pay actually a lot more than that for their coffee. But if you're paying like $3 a day to get your coffee, that adds up for the week. And that money can definitely be saved if you just buy your own. In fact, I guarantee you, if you do your coffee prices for the month of what you pay to buy your coffee out, you might be able to afford one of those fancy little coffee machines, and then you're actually saving money and it's an investment. So I feel like there's something here with really looking over your budget and being smart with your money. I feel like there is money that's going to be put into savings because something is growing for you here during the retrograde. Anything else with this deck before we put it up? I'm not going to keep it out, I don't think, but I just really like this deck and I want to see what we got. Anything else here for Gemini during this retrograde? We have fruit. Yeah, look, achievement and success. Well, I'm definitely keeping that out. You know, I feel like that's exactly what's taking place here for you. And then we have the broom, energy, clearing, and freshening. It's interesting. I feel like there's something here where you do need to keep your energy cleansed, because I do feel like, again, there's something here that maybe you've held on to. That's why you're being thrown into this karmic fire, so you can release what needs to be released and you can step into your biggest and brightest self. I do feel like during this retrograde, Gemini, you're being asked to step up to the plate and be your biggest and best self. On the bottom of the deck, we have the bird, freedom and opportunity. Nice. So you might be gaining freedom from a certain situation in your life, and you're going to be gaining some opportunity because of that. Remember, if we remove something from our life, we're making space, we're making room for new things to enter our life, okay? And that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling here. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. Let's actually put these two right here. And we'll go ahead and start clarifying. So 10, maintenance, encouragement, and guidance. What is this talking about here? Yeah, your skills. I feel like you are really honed in and just, you know, it's giving the energy of somebody who's like, if you do anything like this, like you record yourself or you play music or you write or you sing, you dance, it's like watching it, reading it over and over and over again and trying to make something perfect. I'm getting that kind of energy here. Some of you are learning how to do something in a different way, or you're reevaluating something, or it's just giving that energy with the retrograde, right? We're looking at something, we're giving something a closer look, possibly in regards to your skills, whatever you do for your craft or your trade. It's like you want to kind of refresh this. That's what I'm getting. And what Spirit is saying here is that you have all the tools you need to do that. You are extremely talented, Gemini, so don't forget that, because I feel like your emotions could kind of be all over the place here a little bit as you reevaluate yourself or you audit yourself, and you might be like, you know, like, I think I could improve in this area, or I think I could do this more. But really, this energy here is giving like a master of your trade. So your ancestors could even be coming through during this retrograde to really encourage you. I feel like you will get a lot of encouragement from the other side. I feel like a lot of signs and synchronicities will happen. I also feel like there could be some recognition coming through here that's going to help you feel like, yes, you are doing a very good job, because, you know, there's people out there that say that you should like believe in yourself regardless of what everybody else is saying, and I would actually be inclined to agree with those people. However, there's nothing wrong with hearing that you're doing a good job, and actually that can be very encouraging, because we don't know what battles people are fighting, so it never hurts to tell people, hey, you know, you're doing a great job over there, you know. Encouragement is nice. It's nice to hear encouragement. It's nice to feel encouraged. And I feel like that's actually going to be happening during this retrograde. Whatever you're doing, Gemini, you're doing it very well, okay? So, again, there's a big risk here of you being way too hard on yourself during this retrograde. Save this reading, and at any point, like if you're feeling really down on yourself and you're not feeling good about the work you're putting out there or whatever, please come back and watch this reading, because I feel like this is going to be a nice, gentle reminder that actually you're doing very well, okay? What is this summer energy, expansion and growth for Gemini gang for this retrograde reading? What is this summer energy, expansion and growth? We have the devil. It's really interesting too, because we see the bee here, and we know bees are very hard workers. And I feel like you're actually a really hard worker too. And I feel like you're ready to see some kind of reward. You're ready to see some kind of results from your hard work that you've put in. But the devil is a lie, right? And so the devil could be definitely telling you, you know, oh, you're not doing that well, or things aren't going to grow, things aren't going to expand, right? I feel like maybe there are some parts during this retrograde where maybe you're not seeing the progress that you want to see. So push those fears aside and know that you can expand, you can grow. And also with the card that we had seen on the bottom of the deck here, bird, freedom, you know, the devil for me talks about attachments, you know, it talks about restrictions, it talks about feeling chained or locked into something. It's very karmic energy, which is interesting because you are getting thrown into the karmic fire over here, okay? So I feel like there's something here where you're releasing some kind of karma or self-limiting belief here that's really causing you to fear or hold yourself back. It's almost like self-sabotage. Well, I'm not going to ever grow. I'm not going to ever expand. So I might as well not even really try anymore. You know, it's giving that kind of energy. So yeah, I feel like we're kind of turning our back on these fear based thoughts that are maybe like intrusive thoughts that we're having during this retrograde, and we are going to see some kind of growth here because I do see the 9 of Cups. I mean, that's a really positive energy, and it does feel like you are going to see some kind of wish fulfillment, expansion, again, opportunity, growth. Sunflowers are very significant. They show up in our readings all the time. They actually show up in my personal life now all the time too. So I've kind of taken the sunflower in as like a sign for me now. But yeah, when you see a sunflower during the retrograde, Gemini, just know that that means that expansion and growth is just around the corner, okay? Also, the sunflowers kind of like follow the sun. So there's something there about that. Like following your guiding light and not any fears that may come up. Like keeping your eye on the prize and knowing what you're here to achieve here. That's the energy I'm getting with that. Yeah, because I feel like something is going to be very abundant and fruitful for you, and that you do have a lot of potential here moving forward. But of course, if we don't believe it, we're not going to try, and then we're not going to achieve it after that, you know? What is this preserve energy? Some of you guys could be trying to preserve fruits and vegetables. Maybe you're learning how to can. Maybe you have an abundance that's come through in your garden, and maybe you need to figure out what you're going to do with all of it, you know? There could definitely be this energy of trying to make things homemade. Like I'm getting making your pasta homemade, making your bread homemade, maybe even tortillas for some of you guys. Like I'm feeling like making more things at home. What do we have here for this preserve, for this Mercury retrograde reading for Gemini gang? Preserve. Oh, something wanted to pop out, but it didn't. Preserve. Okay. We have the 2 of Cups. And then we have the death energy on the bottom of the deck. Knight of Wands. Yeah, I feel like there's a big energy of like synergy coming through with yourself. You're coming back into balance and harmony within yourself, Gemini. Of course, this could talk about a soulmate connection, but I actually don't really feel like it is. I feel like this is talking about you. I feel like you are on the same page with yourself and you have a plan almost of what you want to do moving forward, you know? You're feeling very secure within yourself. Now, for those of you that are in a connection, you are in a relationship, I do feel like that relationship could be doing very well during the Mercury retrograde. Maybe you guys are reaffirming some sense of security that you have with each other, and you might even be trying to save up for a house, saving up to have a baby or something like that. But if you are solo dolo, okay, single as a Pringle in this bitch, I do feel like, yes, this is you coming into balance and harmony within yourself, being on the same page, and really reaffirming the security that you feel within yourself. It's like, we got this, you say to yourself as you look in the mirror, right? I also feel like you're kind of getting a nice rhythm or a nice schedule going during this retrograde. Okay, like I'm feeling that very strongly, especially with the thrift and the forethought energy. It's almost like, you know, you're planning ahead. Maybe you're kind of doing meal prep on Sundays, or you're getting work done when you can, you know, ahead of time, kind of trying to get ahead of the game here. I'm feeling like something is going very well for you. And I feel like it's because you've closed out some old toxic cycles with the death energy that just really weren't working for you. We have the Emperor energy with the 7 of Swords. So, if there is anybody here that you feel like this person's toxic and I really don't need to waste my time on them anymore, you are correct about that. I feel like you're standing in your own power and you're making moves in silence, you know? You know how I feel about the 7 of Swords sometimes. Yes, it can talk about a liar, a cheat, a manipulator, a narcissist, all those things, an avoidant, right? But I actually am kind of getting with the 7 of Swords, the energy here of you kind of making moves in silence and really maybe saving money on the side, not telling anybody that you're saving money. We picked up on that in the money reading, so that really makes sense. And I feel like you are. That's the thing. Like you're preserving some things. So, you know, I feel like you're doing what you need to do to take care of you, and it's really working out for you is the energy I'm getting. Which is, of course, what I encourage anybody to do. Do what's best for you, always, you know? I feel like you're changing your mindset or your perspective on things. And so because of this, I feel like you're more clear, you're more concise, and because of that, you're taking more decisive action, or you're making decisive decisions here is what I'm getting as well. All right, what is this fruit? Achievement and success with this Mercury retrograde for Gemini gang. For some of you, this is long overdue success. This is like, I have been working on something for a very long time. I feel like I'm either at a plateau where I can't grow, but I'm also not decreasing, which I'm very thankful for, but I don't find that I'm growing as much as I'd like to. Or some of you just don't feel like this goal is being achieved, or you're not bringing in as much as you'd like to bring in, or something like that, okay? I feel like for a lot of you, there's like long overdue success here, okay? And the fruits of your labor, right? We see all that fruit there. Yes. What is this talking about? This fruit and this achievement and success for Gemini during this Mercury retrograde? We have the Three of Cups. Well, the Three of Cups talks about celebration, right? It talks about harmony. It definitely talks about things paying off if you're working on projects with people as well. So if you have a team at work, or if you're partnering up with somebody at work or in your business, if you've done a collaborative project, or if you're just bringing other people in, like maybe you're needing a graphic designer or somebody to work on a website, or an editor or a publisher, or maybe there's sponsorships or something. I don't know what everybody does. There's so many people watching. I'm kind of just throwing things out there. But if you're working with other people in particular, okay, you're going to see a very successful outcome to this. This will be celebrating. I feel like possibly even during this full moon that we're going to have during the retrograde, which I'm pretty sure is going to be in August at some point, like in the beginning of August, the full moon's happening. But during the full moon, you might see a lot of success. But there's going to be reasons to feel like, you know, life is good, or that something is paying off. It's a really positive card. And maybe some glasses are even going to be raised, or there's some achievements that are coming through here. Maybe you're completing something, you're graduating, you're finishing something up, a certification or something like that, Gemini. It just feels like things are going very well. And there's a reason to be celebrated, and there's a reason to celebrate. In fact, I feel like you will be celebrated. I feel that very strongly. We got the King of Cups always watching, but from a distance, okay? For some of you guys, there could be somebody who wants to work with you. You know, they're like, damn, I like what I see. Like, you work well, you know, or you do this very well, or you're very talented. So somebody could be reaching out to you and saying, hey, Gemini, I would love to work on you with this, or work on you. Stop it. I would love to work with you on this project, or maybe you're the right person for this job, or hey, we've been looking for somebody to head up this department. I think you'd be great. There's something like that going on here for sure. Yeah, there could be a contract coming in, or just, again, an agreement. If it's not a contract you're signing, it's an agreement. For those of you that have been waiting for something like a settlement or something like that, it could definitely be coming in. I feel like there's been delays in that. If you've been waiting for a settlement, or if you've been waiting for like a verdict when it comes to a court case, or an approval perhaps, it feels like there's been hella delays. And so it's like, finally, right? Drinks on me, okay? It's giving that kind of energy. What is this broom here for this retrograde reading for Gemini gang? What is this broom? Energy clearing and a freshening. Yeah, Five of Pentacles, because I feel like we need to sail away, right, from any of those thoughts that are telling us we're not good enough, or the lack mentality that we're feeling. I feel like we're moving on, we're moving out of that energy, you know? That's the energy that needs to be cleared. Because I feel it very strongly with this retrograde that you will be questioning yourself. You will be like, am I enough? Am I good enough? Is this enough? Like if you're creating something, if you're writing something, if you're presenting something to your work or to your bosses, is this enough? Am I enough? Did I land that meeting? Did I close that deal? Did I speak properly? You know, like if you have to present anything, you're going to be really like a little bit more self-conscious than I feel like you normally would be, is kind of the energy I'm getting. So make sure that you're clearing your energy out. Also, there's a possibility for low vibing bitches to be around you during this retrograde. I'm just saying, right? I don't see the bird bitches, but I am getting a kind of slight bird bitch feeling for whatever reason, so I'm going to go ahead and go with it. Make sure that your energy that you're picking up is your energy. You know what I mean? Because if you're an empath, you're very sensitive. It's like if you go outside and you step in dirt, you're picking up dirt on your shoes. That's why we leave our shoes outside, or we wipe our shoes at the door on the mat, or we take them off as soon as we walk inside. I don't leave my shoes outside in Florida, honey. Okay? Because you're going to have like a damn scorpion or a spider the size of your hand in them when you go out the next day. So no, I don't leave my shoes outside, but I do leave them right at the door. That's where all the shoes stay. So maybe there's something about that, how like, you know, you can bring dirt in, you can bring grime, you can bring negative energy in. You know, if you ever like talked to somebody and they just weren't in a good mood, even if they were faking it, but they just weren't in a good mood, or they had some kind of negative entity or attachment that was kind of on them, and then you feel crazy the rest of the day, like you don't feel right. Make sure that you're cleansing yourself, you're smudging yourself, you know, you're releasing that energy. Maybe a nightly routine of cutting cords and just releasing any energy that you've picked up during the day that's not yours. Like, let it go ahead and go on about its business. You know, you don't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here type of energy. I feel like there's something about doing that, because you might be picking up other people's stuff and it's making you doubt yourself, or it's making you be incredibly harsh on yourself. Because lest we forget the emotions that we had that came out, you know what I mean? All right, so let's get some advice and additional messages for Gemini gang for this Mercury retrograde. Advice and additional messages for Gemini gang, please. Advice and additional messages. We have the quantum jump, card number 36. So what I'm kind of getting here is there could actually be a huge leap in achievement that could be taking place, okay? Maybe because there's been stuck energy, maybe you were waiting for divine timing, maybe there were blockages, restrictions, maybe Spirit just needs you to believe in yourself. Whatever this is, it's like we're making up for lost time, because like I had said at some point, I feel like a lot of the achievement or success, abundance that we do see out here, I feel like it's well overdue. Maybe we needed to clear out some karma here with the eagle energy, and now that we have, we're making the quantum jump. What else do we have here for Gemini gang? Advice and additional messages for this retrograde reading. Advice and additional messages. We have actions lead to success, card number 1. Yeah, and that's interesting because this is kind of like my magician card. It's card number 1, as is the magician. And so I'm kind of getting the energy here with this that there could be some maintenance or that you're doing in regards to how much action you're taking. Some of y'all might be taking too much action. You might be doing too much. Others of you need to be more balanced with the action. Maybe sometimes you put in a lot of effort, maybe other times you don't. You'll know where you fit on that. So you need to kind of calibrate yourself is really what I'm getting here. Because that's what Spirit is saying, is that actions are going to lead to your success, but there's an energy of balancing those out. What else do we have here for Gemini? Advice and additional messages for this retrograde reading. We have victory coming out. Nice. I like to see it. Card number 40. And that came out with the unknown gift, card number 41. So wow. You know, 40 and then 41. For some of you, it's like one thing's going to happen after the next. We're going to see this victory, and then there's also going to be an unknown opportunity that's attached to this victory. So you might be getting recognized at work, and you'll be like, heck yeah. And then they're going to be like, and we'd also like to maybe work on this project with you, or offer you this bonus or pay raise, or maybe there's a promotion, or maybe you're just going to be feeling victorious in whatever it is that you're doing, and then unknown opportunity is going to come in because of that. I do feel like, again, there's a quantum jump of something where you've released something during this retrograde or prior to, and so we're going to be seeing abundant results. I got to say, like, this retrograde does not feel as bad as the last one. Last retrograde was not great at all on many levels. But I feel like this one, obviously we need to keep our emotions in check, but I feel like that's just, let's just be real, Gemini, that's an everyday thing. It don't even have to be a Mercury retrograde for us to just kind of lose our shit and pop off on somebody, right? So it kind of feels like just keep yourself in extra check here during the retrograde. Yeah, you are about to shine, Gemini. Well, okay then, that has been your reading. I do hope that it helps. I hope it resonates. I hope it does something. And I'll definitely see you on the next one. Bye.